Right, first step is connect the input, which I'm just using a standard RCA with jack adapters. I'm going to use channel 2 and 3 on this desk because channel 1, the pan pot doesn't work, so I'll plug these in like this and then pan them across, and that's the input. And the output of the desk, I'll just again using standard RCA with jack converters. This goes to the active crossover I'll explain about in a minute, but it's right and that's left. So that's now the outputs from the desk. I'll do the auxiliary outputs in a bit when I've explained the speakers. So this is the amp rack. Got the active crossover, which takes the input from the desk, which I've just plugged in, and splits it between these two amps. This one powers the higher speakers and this one powers the bass bins or the subs, and then this one is for the auxiliary fallback monitors. So I'll plug this in now and wire this up and explain the rest of it to you as I do it. So this is the input from the desk, or the output from the desk, that I'm going to plug into the input of this, which is just the standard RCA with jack adapters on. So that's that. Now this is the high frequencies, the high frequency send, channel A and B, left and right, and the low frequency. So this is going to be sent to the high frequency amp, so that's right, which is channel B, and that's left, which is channel A. Now these come to adapters here, which are just XLR adapters, because it then goes into XLR at the back of this amp here, underneath all this wiring. And then this is the low frequency output to the sub amp, which is like so, left and right, or right and left as I've just plugged it in. Now this is already connected up to the high frequency, so we'll connect this up to the low frequency now, this is the input of the low frequency amp, which is right and left. So that's all that. Now this goes to these are the bass bin feeds, the sub feeds. This is the right one, and that's the left one. So they just go in like so, push, twist, clip. And then these down here go to the tops, or the high frequency speakers. So that's channel 8 when I find it, like so, and that's channel B. So this is the right and that's the left. Right, so this is speak on cable. It's the output from the low frequency amp, which is going into the input of the right sub. So that's going into the right sub like that. So push it in, twist and click. I'll move on and show you the left sub. This is the left sub, which is the output A. Once again, speak on to speak on. Exactly the same. Push it in and twist and clip. So that's the left and right bass bins wired up. I'll move on to the high frequency speakers. Now these use just simple jack, but it's speak on at the amplifier end. So it's just speak on to jack, which just goes into there like that. Free off that cable a bit. So that's the input into the left high frequency speaker. Move across and do the right high frequency speaker, which is just simply exactly the same, speak on to jack, with a slightly different connection option on this speaker. Right, so now I'm going to wire up the auxiliary sends, which are going to act as monitors on this setup. So this is just simply a jack to jack instrument cable rather than a speaker cable, and I'll just plug that into auxiliary output 2. And exactly the same jack to jack instrument cable into output 1, which is auxiliary 2, auxiliary 1. Now I'll wire these across into the monitor amp over there, which I showed you earlier, and explain about that. Okay, so this is the back of the monitor amp. So I'll plug my auxiliary 2 send into channel B, which is channel 2, which is the right speaker, and then I'll plug auxiliary 1 into channel A, which is the left speaker. Now for the outputs on this are XLR. So what I've got here is an XLR to jack converter. It's just XLR female to female jack. So I'll plug one in there into channel A, and then exactly the same into channel B. Now I've got jack to jack speaker leads which are fed to the monitors. So that's speaker A, speaker 1, speaker left, that's speaker B, speaker 2, speaker right. So that's all that wired up, and I'll wire it up into the speakers now. So this is one of the monitors. It's just a little monitor, and on the back it's just a simple jack input as well as binding post, but I'm going to use jack. So the jack connection, which I just wired in on the monitor amp, and just plug that into there like that. Just sitting it on a wedge to raise it up a bit so it's more useful as a monitor. But in a real life situation, this monitor will be facing the stage rather than the same way as the main speakers. And I'll do the same on this side. Same connection behind, same speaker, same jack connection. Plug it straight into the back, like that. And then wedge again to make it at a better angle as a monitor. Right, so here I have the input that I plugged in earlier, which is in channel 2 and 3. It's just a standard 3.5mm headphone jack. Plug it into source of music. I'm using an iPhone. So that's set. Now, what we should have here is the input going in here, going through all here, and coming out here. Now this is the output that is sent to here. This is the active crossover that takes the input, splits it high frequency, low frequency, sends it to these two amps. This is the low frequency amp, the high frequency amp, and then out the subs from the low frequency, and out the tops from the high frequency. Now, if I also send these two channel strips, this is left, this is right, I can send these to the auxiliaries 1 and auxiliaries 2, which are these outputs, which go to this amp. Now, this amp splits between the monitors left and right, or 1 and 2. So now everything should turn on. Turn that down. When all the fans kick in. But now I'll set the volumes, I'll just set them to half for this test, because we're in a garage and it's quite late at night. So I'll just set all them at half, including this and this. And I'll keep them set as they are with them 2. So now we should, if I just reset the auxiliaries, we should have a send to auxiliary 2, which is the monitor. Gangnam Style. That monitor there. Gangnam Style. And a send to auxiliary 1, which is that monitor there. And now, if I turn these up, see it being the amp. If I turn this amp off, we lose bass. That one off. We've just got bass. that's everything.
Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
Thank you for watching.
Oppan Gangnam Style.